Welcome to episode 19 of the Fall Forward podcast. As you can see, we're in a different environment today. We're going to be out talking to people about topics that we covered in the last episode, namely social skills, social anxiety, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so right now, we decided to intro it out in the field. I feel like full transparency is going to be the most amazing thing for this episode. And right now we're looking at maybe groups of 2 people, just so somebody doesn't feel uncomfortable that 2 very scary men, very intimidating men approach them and ask them to be in a video. Could be a little bit sketch, but we are going to go find our first people, and then we're going to check back in. We got 3 or 4 questions we're going to ask them. Should be a good episode.
Should be. Let's get it done.
Let's get it. Tell me when we're going. All right, what's going on? I'm Liam.
I'm Ryan.
Nice. What's your major here?
I'm a business major.
Let's go. What are you trying to do after college?
I'm trying to be a business analyst. Hopefully work at Tesla. So Tesla, I'm going for you. Yeah.
Hey, Elon, he's coming for you. He's coming for you. So our first question today is, how do you feel like social media has impacted your ability to socialize in real life?
Okay. So in my opinion, I think social media has given us a great way to get to know people of their story, but at the same time it gives us an escape to actually meet people in person. So we can just go on Instagram to look at the person. We don't actually have a personal interaction with them. Yeah. So to me, I think social media brings a little bit more anxiety into my social situation, because I oftentimes compare myself with people on Instagram, even knowing that they're not actually the way they look on Instagram. Yeah.
Facts. Facts. I agree. And so for our next question, we got, how do you experience social anxiety, and then how do you deal with it?
To me, I used to experience a lot of social anxiety because I'm a transfer student. I'm from Taiwan. Yeah. And then but I feel like a lot of time I often think I don't speak good English, so people may laugh at me or may think different of me. But right now, as of the state I am, I think a lot of time it's just in my head. It's in my own head. The anxiety is in my own head. No one really cares about what you do or what you really say. It's just, you just gotta go with the flow, and then you don't care about what other people think. Yeah.
Hell yeah, I like that answer. Our third one is, when you meet somebody for the first time, how judgmental do you find yourself being? And what do you think a person could do to leave you with a good impression? You know, what makes you meet somebody and you're like, I like that person, I hope to see him again?
Okay. So I used to be a very judgmental person, and so when I see a person, I kind of he's not dressing well, he's not acting the correct way, the way that I expect him to act. But I came to realize that a lot of time we don't know 99% of the things that's going through their life. So I don't think we should be judgmental. We should have a kind of mindset where you don't judge people. You just stay with you. How do I put this? Just don't judge people. Yeah, and then don't be judgmental, because you don't know nothing about their life. So yeah, you just react or interpret the way you want it to do. Yeah. Yeah. And for what was the second question again?
And then when you meet somebody, what would leave you with a good first impression?
I think a great energy, a great posture, and then a firm handshake. That's a great way to give me a good impression. Yeah.
Nice. And so our last one is that if you were talking to somebody who was struggling with social anxiety, really anxious, maybe insecure, or maybe even super judgmental, what advice would you give to them to help them and assist them in their journey to become better?
I think compassion is one advice I would give them. You give people some, you would, when you see a person who is stuttering or when they are nervous, you'll give them tap on their shoulder, hey, chill, bro. But when it comes to yourself, you don't really give yourself that kind of compassion or that kind of love. So it's kind of weird, we give people, a stranger, that kind of love, and then you kind of attack yourself, saying oh, why are you feeling like this? Yeah, so I think just compassion, love yourself more, and then just relax. Yeah, that's my answer. Thank you.
I could not have said it better myself. No, thank you for being a part of it. I appreciate it. Right on, man.
All right, we're here with
Adrian Mendoza.
Adrian Medeza. And what's your major, man?
I'm a sociology major.
Sociology major. What do you want to do with sociology?
I'm planning after this to go into corporate HR and then later down the line hopefully go into law school.
Awesome, dude. Awesome. All right, we're going to ask you a few questions about your experiences with social media and social anxiety.
Yeah.
The first one being, how has social media impacted your ability to socialize in real life?
I feel like for me personally, it hasn't had much of an issue because like social media is fake. It's all a lie. It's all just appearances and shit. So like, as long as people are genuine in person, like that's all that matters.
Right. Awesome, dude. Awesome. Second question is, how often do you experience social anxiety and how do you deal with it?
I don't deal with it as much anymore because like I just kind of grew out of it. But before it used to be bad because like I would always feel out of place and everything, and I would just automatically shut down. But the way I got over it is just talking to people, getting to know them. People are more similar than we think, so like it's just easy just to talk to people and just free flowing conversation.
Yeah, man. So you just kind of had like exposure therapy. You just talked to a lot of people.
Yeah, after a while, like it just kind of became like second nature to me, and especially for me, like I used to have like a little business that like I had, like it forced me to talk to people. So like just kind of got over it over time.
Have your studies of sociology helped you at all?
As far as like socializing, not really. I feel like the one that helped me the most is my minor in business. Like that's the one that I actually had to like talk to people and like actually get to know them and like make deals and all that stuff. So sociology, you'd expect it to be social, but no, like people don't really talk in class and stuff.
Cool, dude. Cool. How judgmental are you, and how would you describe a good first impression?
I like to think of myself as not judgmental because, like, you know, people are human. Like, you got to respect and love everybody. But sometimes I am just, like, a little irritated that, like, damn, like, if I feel judged, I will judge back. What was the second part of the question?
What would you say makes for a good first impression?
Being friendly and open and honest. Like, if you're transparent with me, I'll be transparent with you. If you respect me, I'll respect you. So it's just kind of like, you know, the golden rule, like, treat others how you want to be treated.
That's a good answer, dude. Good answer. Last question is, if you had to give advice to somebody who was struggling with social anxiety or just wanted to get better at socializing with other people, what would you say to them?
It takes time, and usually like one of the best places to like open up to people is find people with similar interests. So if like you have hobbies, if you're in sports, if you're in clubs, like it'll slowly like branch off and you'll meet that like, oh, this person's a lot like me. So I think like just being open and honest to like all those experiences will little like help you out in the future.
Have you personally met like a lot of your friends through different clubs or organizations that you're part of?
Yeah, so the first thing I did when I came over to San Jose State is I joined like the Super Smash Bros. Like club. After that, I joined a fraternity, and like I started slowly meeting people. And like after that, like I was just like, oh, this guy likes drinking, like I'm gonna hit him up, or like this guy likes playing Smash Bros. Like I wonder what he's doing right now. So like yeah, it's like with the earlier thing that I said, it's like if you find people with like common interests, like you'll slowly like blossom into like a person that you are later in life.
Those are some great answers, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for participating.
No problem.
Cool. What's going on? I'm with.
Oh, I'm Andres.
Nice. What's your major? You already talking about it before.
I'm a dance major.
Nice. What are you trying to do after college?
After college, I'm going to pay off my loans. And then after that, I want to travel and see what opportunities I can get while either auditioning for companies or just seeing what like dance opportunities I could get. I'm just trying to travel and like see the world for sure.
Hell yeah, that's the move right there. I'll ask you the first question, and if you need a minute to think about it, just let me know too. But our first question is, how has social media impacted your ability to socialize in real life?
I feel like the way that it's impacted me is that for some reason I don't tend to remember everyone's like name as quickly. I feel like if I have like their Instagram or like their social media, I feel like you can like match a name to a face a lot better, and then you get to see like more what they're into and things like that instead of having to ask the awkward questions and stuff like that. But in general, I feel like I'm pretty good at talking to people, so it is what it is, you know.
Yeah, so you've like stayed like a pretty confident person, you feel like, and
Yeah, I would say so.
Nice. And then our second question is, how often do you experience social anxiety, and how do you feel like you deal with it?
I wouldn't say I experience social anxiety super often. I feel like when I would experience it, it's probably in times where I feel maybe there's not like a lot of people like me, or I'm just like feeling isolated. But even then, I feel like in a way that also gives me a boost of confidence, because then I know that there's nobody else like me, and that makes me different. Other than that, I just try not to think about it that much, to be honest. I feel like if I start feeling anxiety, I try to do something to ease that, or I will just take control of the situation, and then I don't get anxiety.
Yeah. What do you feel like you do to like ease it? Like what helps you like kind of calm down besides like just acknowledging that like there's nobody like you and like you're valued for who you are?
I think listening. I definitely like to talk and communicate with people, but I think the biggest thing is like just like hearing people out sometimes. Just here on campus, like there's been so many times where like I run into random people, and like the other day a guy was like praying for me, and like I'm not super religious, or I am very spiritual but not super religious, but I felt like that was super nice because he was offering a perspective that I wasn't like necessarily open to at the time. But now I feel like I got to learn a little bit of piece of information that I wouldn't have had access to if it wasn't for that little interaction.
Right.
But
That's awesome. That's awesome. And then when you meet somebody, how judgmental do you think you are off the bat, and what leaves a good first impression?
Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, I probably would be very, very judgmental. I tend to judge people a lot because that's just honestly how it is. We definitely live in a world where we shouldn't judge people based on how they look, but it's very much the opposite. We're definitely judged on how we look and how we are perceived by others. So I feel like part of me is that I've reached a point in my life where I feel like I'm kind of over like the little BS of like, oh, like this is what I do and things like that. Like that's cool and all, and I feel like it's good to just like maybe like that's a good way to get out of that little awkward phase. But I feel like recently I be asking more like in-depth questions like, oh, after you graduate, like is this really what you're passionate about, or are you doing it more for like, oh, because you want to get money and things like that? So I just try to be really honest with people, and then I feel like being honest will push away the things that you don't like and the energy that you don't want, and then bring in that same energy of like what you want to attract.
Yeah.
It may not be the best all the time, but I feel like for the most part it works. So
Hell yeah, I believe it. And then our last one is that if you were talking to somebody right now who was struggling with social anxiety, who was like super insecure and maybe just didn't know how to interact with other people, what would you tell them to help them out with those situations?
honestly, I would just tell them to breathe. I feel like a lot of times, like even for me, I used to struggle with like public speaking. But I feel like I just started to really focus on my breathing and then focus on what's happening in the moment instead of pressuring myself to like get information or like words out. I just think about what exactly I'm doing in the time, and if I really need to be there for someone, I think about like, oh, do I listen a little bit more instead of like adding my own opinion or my own ideas, or maybe the opposite where it's like, oh, I think this is the time for me to really like speak up about something that I'm passionate about. Or sometimes doing nothing is also like a good choice, like just kind of like absorbing everything that's happening around you, and then that way, like when you're in that moment where people are putting you on the spot, you feel a little bit more secure in your responses. But even then, I would just say take everything with a grain of salt. Life is too short to be stressed out about talking to people. Like have fun, joke about it, laugh about it, make fun of yourself, things like that.
Hell yeah, that's what I needed to hear right now for sure. Do you like put your dance videos and stuff like that up on Instagram, or do you like make dance videos?
I do. I have like a bunch of dance videos on my Instagram.
Where can they find you?
You can find me at Andres_Alas. That's ANDRES_ALAS, and that's like on every social media.
Let's go. This man is speaking the truth, so go check him out.
For sure.
Thank you. All right, what's going on? I'm with the Wolf Pack today. What's your name?
Cages. Damien. Jose. Roll.
How's it going? You're going to have to repeat the question I just asked you. So what are you guys all in school for?
Electrical engineering.
Why? Why'd you choose that?
One, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Another one, we know there's a lot of job opportunities in that field.
Hell yeah, there's a lot of good work in there. And then everyone's third year?
Yeah.
Nice, nice. So I got a couple of questions just about like social media and social anxiety. I'm gonna give you the honor to hold the mic for just a minute.
Okay.
Don't mess it up, it's a lot of pressure right now. We got like 100,000 subscribers, so. No, I'm playing. So the first question, and I'll let every single one of you guys answer it, is how has social media impacted your ability to socialize in real life?
I mean, personally, I don't really use social media in any real like capacity, so I feel like my social skills are decent at least, you know. But I feel like they could be worse if I use social media.
Yeah. Why do you choose like not to use it? Like, is there any like real concrete reason?
I'd say like a lot of the people that you have on social media as like friends, they don't really like talk to you.
Yeah, it's fake.
Kinda, yeah. Like,
What about? Oh.
nah, I'm that's it. That's it.
What for you?
I guess it makes it easier as opposed to like just meeting in person.
Yeah.
You meet them online, so you kind of like get to know each other first. So once you see them in person, it's not as like nerve-wracking because you already know them.
Yeah.
So it's not as hard to meet people like that.
No, I feel that. What about you?
I feel like, okay, so this was like years ago when I was really like, oh, so I feel like social media was really like a thing to show off. And when I would meet people online or like in person, I would kind of like overcompensate and like try to sell myself, even though it was just socializing with people. So I feel like that aspect of it is kind of like, oh, you're expected to like have something ready to show someone, or like expect to see something from someone like really cool. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
just-
I see it, and then
Yeah, I don't really have many social media. The ones I do have, like Instagram or Snapchat, I just use mainly to like talk with friends and stuff, or like find memes and send to them.
I'm on there for the memes too.
Yeah, for real. But I think it's like helped me in that sense because that's like all I use it for. So it helped me like just communicate with friends. So it's like another way of talking to them.
Yeah. No, I think so too. I think it's good, like in what you use it for sure. And then so our next question is, how often do you experience social anxiety, and how do you deal with it?
In terms of how often I deal with social anxiety, I feel like I was a lot worse at it before. And I think there's like two kinds of things. It's called like being self-conscious versus being self-aware, right? Where before I feel like if I would walk around, I could like be self-conscious of even just like the way I walked, right? But then like once you're self-aware and you get to that point, you don't really care. And maybe you walk a certain way, but you don't really like care anymore, right? And you don't really care what other people say about it, whereas before you care, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
I think the biggest issue in that was in high school when you're walking anywhere and you're thinking like all eyes on me.
Yeah.
But then in reality, you accept that it's like nobody's looking at you.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares how you're walking or any of that.
Let it go.
Yeah. It's just,
Screw them, huh?
no, who cares? Who cares what the people?
Yeah, so like as you can see, I got like a lot of eczema, and before I used to be like self-conscious about it, like oh, I need to like always wear long sleeves and shit. Oh, can I curse? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like now it's just like no one really cares. Like at the end of the day, it's just they see it and they move on with their day. No one cares. So I've just learned to accept it and like move on with it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say I had like social anxiety to like the extent that I've seen some of my friends have it. Like I know it's not as easy as just saying like just don't worry about it. Like they're not actually thinking about you because it's just their brain telling them that even if no one's looking at you, like everyone is looking at you. But like for me, like it would just kind of be like the social battery kind of thing where like like I would kind of push past those thoughts and just like just not really care, but then afterwards I need to like settle down for a bit and recharge. Yeah.
Nice. And so our third one is, how judgmental are you when you first meet somebody, and what do you think leaves a good first impression?
I'd say I used to be a lot more judgmental about people, about like just the way they look, and I guess like first glances, and first impressions. And I mean, you could say that like I became really good at that, where you could judge a person's character almost immediately just simply by the way they look, the way they talked, and but once you reduce someone to just a character, you don't really get to know them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it's like yeah, you might be right. Like if someone's like like I'll give you an example. If someone's like a skater, dude, and they like dress a certain way, right? They probably have certain outlooks on life. But when you reduce them to just like this caricature of like a person, you like don't let them actually be a person. They're just like a caricature. They're not real.
Right.
And you can't actually like connect with them, right? So I've gotten a lot better at that recently, not really judging people in that way. And in terms of first impressions, I think just the best thing is it's like the most stereotypical advice that even your mom gives you, right? Like just be yourself. But I mean, once you realize certain things, you realize just how true like certain like common sayings like that are, right?
Right.
I wouldn't say I'm judgmental because I mean, if anything, like I would think that people are judging me, but I wouldn't necessarily do that. But first impression, it really goes down to how you present yourself to people. Because, people are going to judge you, and that's their impression of you. So you prove them wrong when you actually meet them. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't really say I'm judgmental either. If you're really cool with me, or if you're like really like we can connect and bond over anything, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
And then what do you think leaves like a good first impression when you meet somebody?
Yeah, so like, yeah, if we can bond over anything, like even the smallest thing, like I had this guy I met, we bonded over like noodles.
Nice.
Yeah, like different noodle flavors, and it was just cool.
I can see it.
I think I used to be like pretty judgmental. I went to like a private middle school that was kind of close-minded, and I would definitely kind of judge people based on like their first appearance. But then I went to like high school and college, and I met more people, and I stopped doing that because like I met people that definitely weren't anything like I thought they'd be based on their appearance. Yeah, and it was first impressions, right?
Yeah, your first impression.
I think I think appearances do count for like a first impression on like a very like subconscious basis, but like past that, I think one thing that's worked for me is that like I like to listen to people, and people like being listened to. So just like listening to people, like having a good conversation, it's pretty good first impression to have.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then just the last thing, I know we've been standing here for a minute now, but for anyone who's struggling with social anxiety or feeling insecure, what kind of advice would you give them?
I'm not going to sugarcoat it the way that, I guess the way I did it is you don't really, you could say like just go out there and do things, but that's a lot easier said than done. But you really just have to kind of like baby step it along the way, and just say hi to somebody. Say hi to someone that maybe one of your friends knows. And then once it happens, like there's always that moment where you're nervous before the thing happens. But then once you do it, it's like once you get over the hurdle, you realize how small the hurdle is, right? And you can only realize that once you get past the hurdle, not before. Because like a small hurdle can look like a mountain until you actually like get across it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to what he said. You don't want to just throw yourself out there like completely. You want to take it step by step to the point where like you feel comfortable and you're making progress doing so. That's good enough. You don't have to like change right away.
Nice.
Yeah, basically what they said. It's a gradual process, and you go as slow as you want, and eventually you'll get to that point where you'll feel like you don't have to really change for anyone. You can just kind of be yourself around everyone.
Yeah, like I said before, I have friends with pretty bad social anxiety, and I know it's not as easy as just saying it's like they're not actually thinking about you. Don't worry about it. I think what worked for me was just kind of like practicing, and especially like fake it till you make it kind of mindset, where like kind of you just have to put yourself out there in like kind of baby steps. Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you for being a part of it today. I really appreciate it, and I wish you guys the best. Kill the rest of college. Have a have a wonderful day today, and thank you.
Thank you guys.
All right, you're good.
All right, we're live. Say your name to the camera.
Clay Carrasco,
Clay, and what's your major?
industrial design.
Industrial design. What do you want to do after you graduate industrial design?
I want to get into like sports product design, fashion design.
Nice. Okay, so we'll just get right into it. How has social media impacted your ability to socialize in real life?
That's a good question. I think that it's definitely had an influence on maybe like as far as like peer pressure on it. I think it's made it a little bit harder to have social interactions because digital interactions have become more common, if that makes sense. But I don't know. And then especially like during COVID, that was really tough. So I think coming back and like trying to get back into it has been like an adjustment. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And how often would you say you experience social anxiety?
I say it's pretty common actually. Like I wouldn't show it, but I think I'd say like most times when I go out, I'm not, looking be like too in the mix. So I would say I have fun.
And how do you manage to deal with it when it does come up?
Usually I just like play music, keep my headphones in, and just kind of think about what I got to handle for the day.
Absolutely, dude. Yeah, music helps me too. It kind of gets me in a certain kind of mood with the different type of music I'm listening to.
Yeah.
How judgmental would you say you are, and how would you describe a good first impression?
I don't judge anyone, honestly. I just, based on my interaction, I try to decide, like, I'd rather make more friends than not come off as, like, a jerk.
So as for like a first impression when you first meet somebody, what would you say makes them appear more attractive or like a good prospect to be a friend?
I think, just having, not having those type of like conversations where it like ends quickly, if that makes sense. Like, I just feel like, getting to know someone a little bit through like conversation and maybe learn about what they're into outside of maybe a professional environment kind of helps make friends.
And so the last question is, if you had to give a tip or some tips to somebody who was struggling with social anxiety or just wanted to get better at socializing with people, what would you say to them?
I'd say just, try to get involved in other things, like get out of the house, clubs and different things going on. But as far as like being on campus, like, I think what helped me is like I got involved in club baseball, so it's like you start to become like part of the community. It kind of forces you in a way like to open up more. So I think that's one way I would approach it.
Absolutely, man. Those are great answers. Great answers. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys, we forgot to record an outro for yesterday, but that was really cool. It was pretty interesting too. I know that for me and Nick too, probably, I felt like pretty anxious coming out there, but we went and talked to a couple different people. Everyone had some good answers, and I want to do that again. I really like being out there and just seeing what everyone else has to say. So hopefully we get out there again next time. If you enjoyed this and enjoyed this more or less than the normal podcast we do, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. And we will see you for episode 20. Boy!